Geren of Fort Worth. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Happy to see you, Jack.
So you were one of the House impeachment managers. What was your reaction when you saw the Senate acquit Attorney General Ken Paxton on all of the impeachment articles?
Well, Jack, while I don't necessarily agree with their verdict, I have to respect that. That's the Senate's job. The House's job is to impeach. Their job is to determine whether he's guilty or not. And so, therefore, I respect what the Senate did.
Do you think they got it wrong?
Well, we worked, the House worked for a long time. We interviewed a lot of witnesses, and you have to understand that General Paxton came to the House and the Senate asking for $3.3 million over the whistleblower lawsuit, and was asked to talk about that in front of Senate Finance, in front of two committees in the House, and he refused to do that. And so the Joint Investigating Committee took it up, and after several months of interviewing witnesses, the committee voted to put the impeachment question before the House, and the House passed it.
I want to get back to that, but I just wanted to follow up. When you first heard the first impeachment article and he was acquitted, did you have a funny feeling that was it?
No, I didn't, Jack. Obviously, it's as Lieutenant Governor Patrick said, this is a political trial. It was not a criminal trial. It was not a civil trial. It was political, and when politics get involved, the outcome is always up in the air.
Why were you so, why did you feel so strongly that the Attorney General be impeached?
I took an oath to uphold the Constitution of the state of Texas, the United States state of Texas, and the laws. And after hearing from a lot of people, and especially the whistleblowers, I believe that General Paxton, who took the same oath, did not, and therefore I thought it was time. I take that oath very seriously, and I believe that we had to go forward at that point.
One of the key moments of the trial came with Laura Olson being called to testify by the House, and then that was delayed, and then later in the day, the Lieutenant Governor announced that she was unavailable. What was your reaction to that? Do you think that was fair?
We had, that happened also, the Lieutenant Governor, because of the Senate rules, and the Senate sets their own rules, we weren't allowed to call Nate Paul or Laura Olson, and the contractor, we were never even able to find him to serve a subpoena. So that's just part of it.
The contractor on the Paxton's house in
Yes,
Austin that was renovated.
Right.
How damaging was that to the case?
You'd have to ask one of the senators.
Let me ask you, go back to your comments about the General Investigating Committee. After the verdicts, Lieutenant Governor really railed against the House impeachment. And he said, and I'll read it to you, the Speaker and his team rammed through the first impeachment of a statewide official in Texas in over 100 years while paying no attention to the precedent that the House set in every other impeachment before. Any testimony given in a House impeachment investigation must be given under oath, and the target must be allowed to present with a lawyer to cross-examine the witnesses. Otherwise, people can say whatever they want without any accountability. What was your reaction when he went off and really sharply criticized the Speaker and you all?
I think his comments are going to make it more difficult for the House and the Senate to work together in any special sessions going forward. And the Lieutenant Governor's entitled to his opinion as I am, and I believe that the House acts as a grand jury, and not all grand juries' testimony is under oath. And I don't believe that we made an improper decision.
The Speaker, in response, said that he criticized the Lieutenant Governor. He said his tirade disrespects the constitutional impeachment process afforded to us by the founders of this great state. The inescapable conclusion is that today's outcome appears to have been orchestrated from the start, cheating the people of Texas of justice. Do you agree with that?
I'll go back to what I said earlier. The Lieutenant Governor said this was a political trial, and there's a lot of things at play in anything that's political. And I don't, as I said, I don't agree with the Senate's verdict, but I have to live with it.
And One of the things that I remember when you were going through the impeachment on the Memorial Day weekend, and you were one of the people who was laying out the case against the Attorney General, and you announced that the Attorney General himself was calling lawmakers on the House floor. That took a lot of people by surprise.
Well, it took me by surprise, Jack, when two of the members of the House told me that they were called while sitting on the House floor on their cell phones by the Attorney General and told that they were going to get an opponent if they voted for impeachment. And I have no reason to doubt their word.
Were you angry?
I was very angry.
Why?
I think that he really overstepped his bounds, and I'll go back to my oath. I want to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the state of Texas and the laws of the Constitution. I mean, the laws of the United States and the state of Texas. And I believe that threatening witnesses or threatening people before their vote is against the law.
I wanted to ask you about what you said before about just, the House and the Senate working together, because there is another special session coming up. How much harder do you think it's going to be able to pass bills, specifically school choice is still out there?
I haven't talked to anybody about that since the verdict came down on Saturday. So it really is not a good time to comment on that.
And how worried are you about being primaried?
Well, I've run several times, and I've had several primary opponents, and as Sam Houston said, do what's right and risk the consequences. I believe that I did what was right.
You discussed before about the reason this all got started was that the Attorney General had requested the House and Senate pay $3.3 million, which was basically the settlement agreement with the whistleblowers.
With not all the whistleblowers.
Three of the four.
Three of the four.
And so I'm wondering, now the Lieutenant Governor has called for a full audit to find out how much the House spent on its investigation. Is it more than $3.3 million?
I don't have any idea.
And if it is it worth money? Is it money well spent?
I believe that it was money well spent, yes.
Why?
I believe that we had to dig into what went on because the Attorney General would not come to the House, and he would not come to the Senate, and he would not tell us what went on. He had the opportunity to testify in his own trial. He chose not to be at the trial, not to be there. And all along he said he wanted to tell his side of the story. He had that opportunity. He never took it.
And it sounds like that really bothered you, the fact that he wasn't there to listen to any of the testimony.
Well, it bothers me that he decided he didn't need to tell his side of the story after he'd been railing about that the entire time since May.
And did it bother you the fact that he wasn't there to hear the testimony?
I believe that he should have been.
Why?
I believe that he should have been there just like we were to hear all the testimony, and and at that time he could have had the opportunity to rebut any of it that he wanted to, but he chose not to testify.
What did you make of Senator Angela Paxton's comments that she fully supports and agrees with not only the verdict of him being acquitted, but with the 6 senators who wanted to drop all the impeachment articles even before the trial began?
I honestly have not seen any of Senator Paxton's statements.
What did you think of those 6 senators who wanted to drop all the charges before the trial started?
Once again, that was their prerogative. I would have disagreed with them, and I think that decision was wrong. But it's their decision and their vote.
What message do you think the acquittal sent to the public?
I think that it said that that General Paxton can get away with just about anything he wants to, but there's other charges out there. There's a federal grand jury investigation going on at this time, and there's state charges in district court in Harris County that are coming up, and I don't know how any of those will play out. That's up to a whole different set of jurors at this time.
One of the things people were wondering is if this has any impact, the impeachment process will have any impact on the federal investigation.
I don't have any idea. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not that familiar with the federal system.
Is there anything else that I didn't ask you about that you want the public to know?
No, I'm just, other than that, you know, I disagree with the verdict, but I have to support it because that's the way the Constitution is written. The House is a grand jury and the Senate is the trial court. The Senate are the jurors and they voted to acquit, and that's something that, you know, that we have to put that behind us now and go forward.
I did have one other question. How much blowback have you gotten?
Really, I
From
haven't.
Constituents, from other
I've
Republicans?
gotten a couple calls. I've gotten a lot. I've gotten actually more calls in support than I have in opposition, and
By Republicans?
By Republicans, yes. By Republicans within District 99 as well as out.
State Representative Charlie Geren of Fort Worth, thank you so much.
Jack, thank you.